Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a peppermint fudge cake. It's a fudgy chocolate cake that's both light and dense, kind of like a combination of chocolate cake and brownies. It's frosted with my best ever vanilla buttercream frosting that's flavored with peppermint. It's topped with chocolate ganache and decorated with crushed peppermints. It is so delicious. I know you're gonna love it. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Be sure to subscribe for new videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Plus, I'm also posting lots of bonus videos up until Christmas. So let's get started. First, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. For this cake, you'll need two 8-inch round cake pans that are 2 inches tall. If your pans are shorter, then use 4 8-inch pans or 3 9-inch pans. Lightly grease the pans. Line them with a circle of parchment paper and set them aside for now. Then into a medium bowl, add in the eggs that are at room temperature, sour cream, also at room temperature, and vanilla extract, and whisk them until they're combined. Then into a separate large bowl, add in the flour, sugar, dark brown sugar, Dutch processed or special dark cocoa powder, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, and whisk them until they're well combined. Then into a small saucepan, add in the butter and water, and heat them on the stove until the butter is melted and the mixture comes to a boil. Then remove it from the heat. Pour it into the dry ingredients and mix it until it's combined. Then add in the egg and sour cream mixture and mix it in just until it's combined. Pour the batter evenly into the prepared pans and bake them in the oven for 40 to 50 minutes. When you insert a toothpick into the center, it should come out almost clean. Since this cake is so fudgy, it may not come out completely clean. It will firm up a little more as they cool. And if you're using 4 8-inch pans or 3 9-inch pans, bake them for 25 to 30 minutes. When they're done, remove them from the oven and let them cool completely. What I like to do to keep them extra moist is to cover them in plastic wrap while they're still warm so it traps the steam and it stays in the cake. Then you need to make 1.5 times the recipe for my best ever vanilla buttercream frosting. I'll put a link to that video in the description box. And flavor it with peppermint extract instead of vanilla extract. And we need 1.5 times the recipe because one recipe is enough to frost 3 8-inch cake layers, and we're using 4 cake layers in this recipe. And so there's also some extra frosting to add piping designs too. I'll even put the measurements for 1.5 times the recipe in the description box. Once the cakes are completely cooled, trim off the tops so that they're flat, and cut them in half horizontally. It's best to use a cake leveler to make sure they're nice and flat. You can use a long serrated knife, but it will be a lot harder to get it completely flat. Then to assemble the cake, spread a little frosting onto your cake board. Place the first cake layer onto it, making sure it's centered. Spread on a layer of frosting. Add the next cake layer on top of it. Spread on a layer of frosting. Add the next cake layer. Spread on some frosting. And add the last cake layer on top. Then cover the whole cake in a thin layer of frosting. This is the crumb coat, which will stop all the crumbs from showing on the outside of the cake. It's not going to look great at this point. Then place the cake into the fridge for 30 minutes or the freezer for 10 minutes until the frosting is set and no longer sticky. Then remove the cake from the fridge or freezer. Then cover the cake in another layer of frosting, smoothing it out as best as you can. To make the ganache, add the chopped chocolate into a small bowl. You can use any chocolate you like. I'm using 2/3 milk and 1/3 dark. Heat up the heavy cream on the stove until it starts to boil and pour it over the chopped chocolate in the bowl. Let it sit for a minute to let the heavy cream melt the chocolate. And stir it until it's combined and smooth. We're using this ganache to make a drip effect on the cake, and you don't want it to be too runny or it will keep running down the sides and may even drip off the cake board. So now you need to let it sit for about 15 minutes so it can cool and thicken. You can place it into the fridge to speed it up. Once it's slightly thicker, you can use it on the cake. Start by pouring about half of it on top of the cake. And slowly spread it out all the way to the edges. Adding more ganache a little at a time if needed. Once it reaches the edge, spread some of it off the edge and let it drip down. And keep going all the way around the cake. Then place it into the fridge for about 15 minutes to let the ganache set. Meanwhile, add the peppermints into a plastic bag and crush them using a rolling pin. You don't want to make powder, you just want big pieces and small pieces. And look for any pieces that are too big and crush them a little more. Once the ganache on the cake is set, remove it from the fridge. Spread a thin layer of frosting all around the bottom of the cake. Since the frosting covering the cake will already be set by now, the peppermints won't stick to the cake, so we need to add more frosting so that they stick. Then press the crushed peppermints onto the layer of frosting. Take a piping bag fitted with a star piping tip and turn it inside out. And use a paintbrush to add 2 stripes of red food coloring onto each side of the bag. Carefully turn the bag right side out, leaving some still inside out. And add the rest of the frosting into the bag. Then pipe swirls of frosting onto the top of the cake. And add a border onto the bottom sides of the cake. Then finish it off with a peppermint onto the top of each frosting swirl. And that's how to make a peppermint fudge cake. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give this video a like and check out my channel for many more videos and subscribe to my channel for more to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.